Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Talk Liverpool. It's been a minute since I've been on Let's Talk Liverpool. If you're wondering where I went, I honestly just I don't know, I kind of like my own thing where we just didn't have the time to do these episodes. But I probably couldn't have picked a better game to start. Liverpool 3, Man City 1. What a fantastic result. Everything that, as a Liverpool fan, you could hope for from the performance. We don't get any injuries. We're going into the international break on a high. And yeah, honestly, it's just like everything that you could ever hope for as a Liverpool fan. And I wish the smile on my face could reverberate through the sound here. But I'm sure you can tell by the kind of way I'm speaking that this was a game where we needed to show up. We needed to show City who's boss. We've obviously made a good start to the season, and they haven't made as good a start to the season as they had previously. But we needed to show them that we mean business, and that if they continue to drop points, we will be picking up the points. We're not going to be slacking. But we also had to kind of prove it for ourselves mentally. You know, those games against Man City last season were possibly the ones that had a big role to play in us not winning the title. So it was hugely important, particularly the game at Anfield, to put up a great performance, get the dub, get the 3 points, and walk away with what was a fantastic victory going into the international break with everyone feeling kind of on cloud nine. So yeah, it was an interesting game in that we kind of like City kind of played a lot of their type of football. They seemed to have like a bit more possession and they had a lot more chances, but we had one of these games where we were just incredibly clinical. Like sometimes, like the Aston Villa game last week, we kind of maybe aren't so clinical. But then there's other games like this, like today, where where they're just on it, like when Salah's on it, when Mane's on it, and they're just clinical with all the chances they take. And we just look way too dangerous when that happens. Like when that happens, literally no team in the world can stop us. Whether you're Barcelona, whether you're Juve, or whether you're Man City, I think when we play like that, there genuinely is no stopping us. So that was mighty impressive for us to see. But the game started in the fashion that Man City probably would want. They had a couple of corners. They were dominating the ball. And then we actually went up the other end and actually scored with Fabinho, and obviously there was a bit of controversy there. The ball, Bernardo Silva was trying to drink into our box. The ball kind of ricocheted off him. I think came off his arm, but I think it ricocheted off the kind of deflection with Lovren. But then it hit Trent Alexander-Arnold on the arm. And when you look it back in slow motion, I'm not going to lie, it doesn't look good. I will be man enough as a Liverpool fan to say that was probably a penalty. And as a City fan, I can completely understand why you would be pissed off at that. But I think, over the course of a season, I think all those types of decisions will even out. As much as Pep is a bit salty about it, I'm happy for him to be salty about it. But I think it's one of those ones where if it happened against your team, you'll be livid. But if it happens for your team, you're like, oh yeah, the ball came too quickly. What was he supposed to do? His hand was in an unnatural position. All this type of VAR talk that has dominated everything we've been talking about in football. But enough about that. Let's not worry about that. Let's focus on the quality. It was a great ball from Robbo down the line, actually, and Mane kind of put Kyle Walker down the line, crossed the ball in, and the City defenders kind of just like, they could have, I think, just booted it into row Z if they wanted to, but they were kind of faffing around, and I think it was Fernandinho or maybe Gundogan who kind of just cleared the ball out to no one in particular, just to the edge of the box. And Fabinho from about 30 yards out absolutely pinged the ball. Like the technique, the tech as he got on it, was just absolutely beautiful, and it just flew past Claudio Bravo. And honestly, there couldn't have been a better start to the game. And honestly, it could have got better because it did get better. On our second counter attack of the game, so City again after that goal kind of started dominating the possession. But then again, we kind of hit on the counter attack, and we had a cross-field ball by none other than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like, who else is going to be hitting 60-yard pingers across the pitch? Now, I used to love back in the day when Steven Gerrard used to like bang those passes across, and now that we're seeing Trent do it, it's so nice. But yeah, Trent pinged the ball out to Robbo. Robbo kind of just had quite a bit of space down on the left side. Kyle Walker kind of just pushed back a bit, and he whipped a beautiful ball into the box. And Fernandinho just missed it, and Salah hit the ball, kind of headed the ball on the bounce. And the pace, the cross had so much pace in it, Salah just had to get his head on it, and there was no way Claudio Bravo was saving that. And kind of that was it. Like, in a flash, we were 2-0 up. I was kind of watching it like, okay, I didn't expect this to happen. I was expecting a tight, cagey game. You know, we've conceded first in what are like last 3 Premier League games or something like that. So that was very, very much not what I was expecting. But you know, it was a pleasant surprise. But luckily, they did check it on VAR, obviously. This week, unlike last, Salah's armpit was onside. It was on the right side of the line, so that was good to see. But yeah, City kind of grew into the first half after that. They had a couple of chances. Aguero had a chance. I think Sterling had a chance as well. But they didn't really manufacture anything too meaningful. I think they had a couple of shots in Alisson's goal, but nothing that like really, really tested him. Alisson looked very kind of reassured and calm throughout the game, which is always good to see. But yeah, City started the second half kind of as they did the first half, kind of on the ball, passing around, kind of playing the way they like to play. But exactly like the first half, there was a kind of a throw-in deep in on the right-hand side, and kind of one of those throw-ins where kind of nothing happened. But Henderson managed to get away and whipped an absolutely stupendous ball across the box. Like that for me, that assist is up there with some of the best ones from Trent and Robertson for this season for me. Like the ball was kind of hit with fade. It gave Claudio Bravo no chance, even though it kind of just went over his head. It kind of the way the ball went over, it just didn't feel like it gave Claudio Bravo any chance, and he didn't have any chance. And Sadio Mane stooping in at the far post, and Claudio Bravo possibly could have done better, but hey, you know, who cares? Sadio Mane stooped in to get the header in, and yeah, just like that again, it was 3-0, and after that we kind of got what you would expect from City. City cranked it up. They had to, right? Their pride was on the line. They were being 3-0 away from home. They'd obviously scored in every away game this season as well, so they had a bit of that pride and that stat to continue as well. And they did do that. You know, their pressure did tell eventually when Bernardo Silva hit a very fair play. You know, he hit a very, very sweet shot in with his left foot into the near post. Alisson had no chance, but you kind of got the stage there where it could have got a bit nervy, but then there was another appeal for a handball where I think Raheem Sterling was coming into the box. This time again it was against Trent Alexander-Arnold, but this time it was much closer, and like there's nothing Trent could have done about it, and Pep Guardiola was going crazy like at the referees. But you know what, suck it, Pep, man, you've won too much, just like suck it up. I feel sometimes he's maybe a bit of a sore loser, and he kind of just like he kind of throws a bit of a tantrum. Like if any of you guys watched what happens after the game, he goes up to the referees and very sarcastically shakes their hand and goes, "Thank you very much." Not saying good evening. He's not Unai Emery, but yeah, just kind of very sarcastically shaking their hands, kind of just being like, you know, a big F you. Even though necessarily, I wouldn't say it wasn't the referee's fault. It's probably more the guys out in the VAR in Stockley Park that he's probably more frustrated at. But yeah, I'm sure. It's kind of weird, like I guess you can't get fined for that, but like it was kind of disrespectful and stuff like that. So I wonder whether the Premier League would do anything about that. But anyway, so you know, who cares what happens to Pep Guardiola? I don't care. But it finished 3-1, and I guess at this moment in the season, we don't know, you know, how big of a result this may be. Obviously, we're only 12 games into the season now. We've still got over 2/3 of the season left to play. And you know, this could be one of those games that we look back in May and kind of go, you know what, that was the point at which City just didn't believe they could win the league anymore, and Liverpool were like, you know, this is our destiny this season. Or we could look back at it and saying, Liverpool were this many points ahead of City, how did they throw it away? One of those stories that we've had to face, unfortunately, quite a few times over my lifetime. But yeah, well, I guess just in terms of taking into account the enormity of this result, like we'll only be able to tell May. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The one thing I guess I did notice, just in the way City were playing and the demeanour of some of the players, like they did seem a bit resigned. Maybe it was just resigned in the result of the game, but they kind of looked a bit resigned. For me, and more than that, they looked a bit resigned, like, oh, like, you know, here's Liverpool again, and you know, they're up in the levels and we can't match it, and we've already dropped so many points, and kind of almost like the body language that they've almost kind of conceded the league or something like that already, which I think is obviously stupid, and Pep will be telling them, you know, that's obviously stupid. But as a Liverpool fan, to see that great City team feel like that against us is just like so sweet. I can't describe like how amazing that feels, that Manchester City can come to our stadium and just feel utterly demoralised. Like, yeah, it's just such a good feeling. But yeah, I think my player So as I kind of I like to do, I like to, they obviously give the man of the match out and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes I agree with the man of the match, sometimes I don't agree with the man of the match, but definitely I agree with the man of the match today. 100% for me was Fabinho. I think Henderson was up there as well for me. I think Henderson had an absolute banger. I think he was ill during a week or something as well, so he did really good to play the 60-ish minutes that he did, and he was actually really, really good. He was just very solid, exactly what we need from Jordan Henderson. But the player of the game for me has to go to Fabinho. He was just so on it. Obviously the goal was great, that kind of set his confidence, but it completely justified why Klopp decided not to play him at Villa, to make sure he didn't get suspended for this game. He just showed how important he is to our team, breaking up things in front of Van Dijk and Lovren. Again, Lovren is someone I want to give a shout out. He's obviously come in with Matip out and coming in ahead of Gomez as well. So he's played really well as well, so fingers crossed that he gives up this good form, because he's been impressive as well. And maybe it's just the Van Dijk effect of playing alongside him makes any of our centre backs look better. But yeah. Anyways, enough about Lovren. But just Fabinho was just quality. He did everything that was needed of him. He broke up the play. He set us away on counter attacks. And he's just proving yet again, every game in, game out, why he's so important to this Klopp team and why he's so important to Liverpool. Haven't got enough plaudits or good things to say about Firmino from this game. But as I always do, if you guys have listened to last season's Let's Talk Liverpool episodes, I do a shout out to Klopp. So this is the kind of section of the podcast and of the video where I talk about how I think, or what things I think Klopp should maybe change or work on or improve on. And actually, as you could maybe guess, there isn't much. I think the main thing that I guess from my side is that like Klopp and some of the players that are not going well on international duty use this time to properly rest up. Like once we come back, we end up in this kind of like December, Christmas, New Year schedule, and obviously we've got the FIFA Club World Cup on top of that, and then the Carabao Cup thing, which is still getting rearranged or whatever, and we're going to be playing Villa with a second team or whatever. Actually, I was just thinking about that. On that point, I kind of feel like because of that handicap that Liverpool got, would it be weird if Liverpool had like a 1-0 head start or something like that, if we're having to field two teams? Like I know that's quite a radical thing to say, but I don't know. What team has ever had to play 2 games in 2 days, right? Other than in FIFA when the glitch happens. But anyways, that's a digression. Yeah, the shout out to Klopp is just rest up the minds, rest up the bodies, because it's going to be a slog. And should we come out on the other side like middle to end of January still with an 8-point lead, then we can start thinking and talking about the title and things like that. But yeah, I think in this international break, just keep it calm. And just focus on resting up mind and body, ready to smash it in December. I'm so gassed for December. I can't wait. We've got huge games. We've obviously got the Everton game, then the FIFA Club World Cup. So we've got big games, which I'm looking forward to. And I hope you guys are looking forward to them as well. And the Let's Talk Liverpool podcast will be back now properly. So I hope you guys are looking forward to those as well. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already there. Or if you're listening to on a podcast, make sure you tune in every week. But thank you guys for watching and listening. And I'll catch you for the next game.